Hello everybody, this is Shannon with Beads and Babble. I am here with another jewelry tutorial. We are going to revisit the brick stitch, and we're going to do a project that is a little bit more entailed than the last one, which was the sunburst. So we are going to do some brick stitch around a hoop earring with varying bead counts to give you this kind of scalloped look. And I completed this one because I wanted to show you how to finish it, because I'm not going to do the complete design on this one. I'm just going to show you how to start it and do the rows, and then I'll switch over this so this tutorial is not too long. So we're going to go over the materials. You're going to need a hoop earring. You can use one that's already made like this one, or you can make your own, and as long as you have a frame to weave on or stitch around, it will be just fine. This is available in the store, and it is inventory number FIND27. And it is approximately a diameter of 1 3/4 inches. So, alrighty. So, and then we're going to be using some KO thread, and this is a silver, light silver, and then some thread conditioner, Thread Heaven conditioner. I'll be using a, this is a short needle. I used a longer one on this one, same, just a short one, size 12 needle. You can use a 10 as well if you like a stiffer needle. I picked 2 colors of regular seed beads. These are size 11/aught seed beads, and I believe these are Japanese seed beads. I just had some that I had picked out of my drawer. I'm going to keep it simple and only do 2 colors to give you this particular design. So the inner is the kind of sea foam green, and then the outer is the silver lime crystal as the accents. You'll need a pair of shears to cut the thread. We will also be using a thread burner. And that's it for today. And I also want to apologize if I sound a little hoarse or nasally. I'm still battling my allergies, so it just kind of put me behind on everything. So we're going to cut approximately 1.5 yards of nylon thread. This is just 100% nylon thread. I just particularly like this brand. You can use any brand of nylon beading thread that you prefer. And I'm going to give it a coat of Thread Heaven thread conditioner. I just put my thumb over, push it in, and drag the thread through. And now I'm going to pre-stretch the thread with my hands. Careful not to pull too hard and not to slide the thread through my hands as I'm stretching it, because it will cut you. So I'm just doing portions and just pulling. Just a quick stretch there. Okay, and I'm going to thread the needle real quick, since, well, actually I'll tie it on first before I thread. So this latch opens this way, so I'm going to start it here away from the closure. And I'm going to want to leave about a 6 to 7 inch tail. I'm going to tie just a simple overhand knot. Excuse me. Take a drink of something. My sinus drip is getting me. Alrighty, finish my overhand. I'm just tying it real tight. This just kind of keeps the thread onto the component. Sorry about that. Okay, and then I'm going to grab the other end. And I like to take my fingernail and kind of splay that end a little bit, thin it out, because the holes on these needles are very tiny. Already have issue with my eyes, so I try to give myself the best advantage. And these smaller ones are even worse. I might have to go to my bigger needle here if I can't. Oh, there we go. Got it. So sorry I have not been very active lately. It's because last week we were preparing for our first market here, handmade market here in Tennessee. It was Troyer's Community Market. Awesome, by the way. The people were amazing, both vendors, other vendors, and the people that came out to support the handmade community were amazing. Okay, so now that we have the thread attached to the component that we are going to be stitching onto, what we're going to do is we are going to pick up 2 crystal silver line beads and 1 seafoam green. And this is going to be the first and second row together. I'll show you what I mean here in a moment. So now you have them pulled down. You're going to pass the needle through the hoop to the other side. So the needle will be on one side, the beads will be on the other. You're going to go up through the bottom of the last 2 beads here. And then you're going to get that lasso there. I'll move the camera in here so it stops struggling. Be a little bit easier for everybody to see too. Okay, and so now we have those 2 there. And we're going to go through the first bead here. If it's better if I go closer or far away, well, if it's going to struggle. Because my hand's coming in and out of the frame, probably confusing it all to heck. And now I'm going to come up through those last 2 beads again. This is the only time I'll be doing this is on the ends. It just kind of reinforces the stitch here. And so this is the beginning. The beginning of your row 1 and 2. Now we're going to pick up 1 crystal and 2 seafoam green beads here. Thread them down. I'm going to go through the hoop so the needle is on the opposite side of the beads. We're going to go up through all 3 of the beads this time. Little fiddly, but you'll get it. And then that's going to give you that last lasso, and it's going to bring those beads in, and they're going to stack. So I am pulling tension upward and slightly to the side just to keep tension on those beads. You won't have to do that so much as you get further along in the pattern. It's just that these first few will be a little bit tricky. So we're going to pick up one crystal and one green. Definitely we'd use a longer needle. Makes it a little bit easier to hold on. Okay, now that we've gotten those down, I'm going to go through the hoop. And then I'm going to take the needle and go back through both beads that we strung on. And it's creating that lasso right there that pulls it down and completes the brick stitch. And as you can see, we're graduating one bead, two bead, three beads, two beads, and then there'll be one bead to give you that kind of scalloped, and keeping tension on while you're going. So we're going to pick up one crystal bead, pull the thread. Ugh, I'm just having a time of it today. Okay. Now we got that bead threaded. We're going to go through the hoop. And then now through the bottom of the bead we just on there. And as you can see, that has that kind of lasso around the frame that we're stitching onto. And there is your first scalloped component of the brick stitch. So now we are going to pick up one crystal and one green. Putting those beads all the way down, coming up through the hoop, making sure the beads are on one side of the component and the needle's on the other. Then we're going to go up through the bottom of the beads in order to get that lasso, and pulling it down nice and tight, pushing them against each other, keeping it. And if the beads get a little bit wonky, just go ahead and straighten them up with your fingers and pull tension so you get them where you want. Okay, and then we're going to pick up a crystal and two greens. Go through my fingers here. This is helpful too to keep your thread from getting tangled as well or knotted. Kind of massages the thread with each stitch. And then we're going to go up through the bottom. Same, you're repeating the stitch, but you're just grabbing a different count of beads each time in order to get this scalloped. Now we're going to graduate down to two crystal and a green. Through the hoop. So the needle's on one side and the beads are on the other side of the hoop. Thread going in and crisscrossing over through the bottom of the beads. So you get that lasso. And it pulls those, sucks those beads down onto the hoop, the frame of the hoop. I'm just making sure, because you know the beads will kind of move around a little bit. And then I'm going to pick up one crystal because we're graduating down to one. Going through the hoop. And then going up through the bottom of the bead, the needle. That thread lasso, and we're going to bring it in. So now you can see we have two complete scallops. I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to move over to showing you how to close up the ends so they look nice. All right, so we're going to pick up one crystal one green, going up through the hoop, and then coming around to go up through the bottom of both beads we just strung on to get that lasso. Sure, I'm staying kind of in the middle here with this camera zoomed in. You really got to pay attention to that. All right, we're going to pick up one crystal, two greens. Oop, just flicked them off there. Happens with this short needle. And also, if you just want to do a solid color, you can just do one color. That's fine too. Up through the hoop. Keeping the beads on one side, the needle on the other. Coming up through the bottom of the beads. And then we're going to grab one crystal, one green, up through the hoop, making sure you're always going through the bottom of the beads on the thread here on the opposite side. And then we're going to grab one crystal, through the hoop, back up through the bottom of the bead, pulling it down tight against the component that you're weaving the brick stitch. So now there are 3 scalloped brick stitch graduating from 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, and then continuing that pattern all the way throughout. And then I use a thread that kind of matches the whatever frame I'm stitching on, but you can also contrast that if you choose. Totally up to whatever design you want. So I'm going to put this aside and I will finish it later, but now you are going to, on this particular sized hoop, you are going to do 14 scallops, crowns, however you want to, look at them and call them. So now I have completed my last one because I'm going to leave space because of this lever action here. I don't want to get in the way of that to make it very difficult. So this is the last one here. Now I'm going to take the needle, this other tail out of my way here, and I'm going to go back down the 2 next to the final bead here. I'm taking my time here to, and then I'm going to come back through the last one. This is kind of just securing it, double securing it here. I do usually do that, run the thread through the end beads twice because they are the ends more vulnerable to being snagged and stuff. Now, we're going to go underneath the bead and the component here. Sometimes this can be kind of tricky. We're going to go under the thread of the first 2 against the component there with the needle and the thread. Watching to make sure I'm not tangling up here. And then before I completely pull that loop, I'm going to go through it with the needle. And it's going to create a knot. And then I'm going to go up through the second row of 2 beads. And then down through third row of 3 beads. Basically working my way back down the pattern. With the thread again. Up through the next 2. Down through the single here. And up through these. And what I'll usually do now is I will go through this one row here of 3 and come up through the second bead, just like that. So the thread is basically pinched between the 2 beads. And I'm going to come in with the thread burner, and I'm going to burn that thread off right there. I had way too much thread on that one. All right, so now that is completed and secured. And now what I'm going to do, this is already knotted, so you don't have to worry about tying a knot on this one. We're going to thread this short tail onto the needle. Thread tail onto the needle, and we are going to just reverse weave back up the design and then burn the thread off as well, like we just did. Gives a nice clean finish. It'll also pull this knot here up into the bead, so you're not going to see it. Right, so we're going up through that last bead, down through the second 2 beads here. Just repeating up the pattern proof. Sorry, the fur babies are with me today. They've actually been pretty good through this video, which I'm pleasantly surprised by. And we're going down through the 2 here. Work your needle through the beads and then out through the bottom, up through this single one here. You're just reverse weaving, like I said, through the pattern. And then I'm going to stop it here, and I'm on the row with 3 beads, and I'm going to come up through the middle of this, show you the 2 green here. So the thread will be pinched between the 2. And then I'm going to burn it off there. I love the thread burner because it's nice because it gives a nice clean edge and no fraying on those. So this is the finished earring. With the ends secured. Back out a little bit. So it's, oops. Oh, I guess in. So you have both ends finished. And to give you a good look at everything here. And that, folks, is how it's done. It's really not that hard, and it looks complicated, but it really isn't. And it makes a very pretty earring. So I will finish this one now. So I'll have a nice set of two after I finish this video, but I kind of wanted to sneak on here and do a tutorial since I've been MIA for a little bit. But I hope you enjoyed, and I will actually be coming back with another tutorial on the brick stitch, but with taking it a little bit further with fringe earrings. And that one is really fun, and it's very dramatic. I know fringe is in right now, and it's always fun for summer to have fringe earrings. So, and until the next time, I will be seeing you.